Hello guys. Welcome to the channel. This is Lunar Goddess Tarot. I'm Sarah and I'll be your intuitive guide and your reader today. So we focus on messages or confessions from the Divine Masculine energy in today's earlier video. And as promised, I'm delivering the Divine Feminine counterpart portion of that video. I did that video a little differently because I felt like I've been feeling like there's such a softening coming from the Divine Masculine collective and their energy that I wanted to tap into that softening to see how the Divine Feminine could benefit, how that can benefit your journey and your path in understanding where they're at. Not from a sense of longing or from a sense of needing to know what they're doing, but rather from a sense of empowerment and from a sense of perspective. So I hope that video was helpful. And if you haven't had a chance, you can go check it out. It's the last video that I posted earlier today. A few quick announcements for you guys, and we'll get right into the card portion of the reading. Very excited for this. If you would like to purchase the Twinflame workbook, it is a 26-page book. It's a book and a workbook combined. It's designed to be interactive, so the exercises are at the end, but there's about, I think, 20 plus pages of written material in there where I discuss the journey, the different stages and segments of the journey, how to get through those stages, how to deal with separation, how to understand the masculine, feminine energies, what it feels like, to be the feminine counterpart going through this, why the masculine pulls away, why are there karmic partners, what is the purpose of this, are they real, what is this all for? So I answer your burning questions in that workbook. And also, if you'd like personal sessions or readings with me, those are available on the website as well. And for anybody asking, because I've had a few people inquiring via email, the next group program will be likely in October. It will be this fall, and it's going to have a different feel to it. It's going to be a little different. So I'm really excited to announce those details when the time is right. But in the meantime, I'm going to start a newsletter. So I'll be doing a newsletter and creating an email list so that anybody who's interested will be alerted when the early bird begins, when we start to open up registration for that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you to my moderators, and let's get started. Okay, so I've got the Divine Feminine Oracle deck here. I've got the Divine Feminine Healing, the Twin Flame Journey to Union. Okay, so we'll get some messages there. But we're going to start with the same tarot deck I used for the Masculines reading. So we're going to start here with the Archangel Power Tarot cards. And we're going to tap into some messages here from the guides, the angels, the archangels, and the gods and the goddesses. So in the masculine reading, we looked at how they were perceiving themselves, how they were perceiving this connection, this journey, as well as the feminine. So I'd like to get some insight now for the feminine's journey as to how she's perceiving herself and how we can best navigate the current energies, okay? So that we can move forward and out of some of these more challenging, turbulent energies that we have. The astrology for the rest of the year, there's some major changes. Planets are changing signs, so that is going to create some sort of combustion or tribulations, challenges. We're going to need to be very insightful, very grounded. So now would be the time to ground yourself so that when those energies arrive, you are as prepared as possible, okay? We're in changing times right now, so the goal is to get as still as possible within yourself despite the atmospheric conditions, okay? Despite the weather that's going on out there. And this is what is proving to be challenging for people, very challenging. I think this is also what's made it easier, though, to focus on yourself, Divine Feminine, because you can't be worried about what the masculine is doing when we've got rising interest rates, inflation, rising prices everywhere, food, gas, oil, etc. Electricity, everything is rising, and we're trying to stay afloat. And I think many people are very much in this energy of conservation. Okay, so it's an interesting time to be journeying into entrepreneurship like some of you are doing. It's an interesting time to be breaking away from the matrix, although that's exactly what we're guided to do. So that's what a lot of people are doing. A lot of divine feminines and some divine masculines are beginning to do that as they, they maturate, they mature here, and they come into the next phase of their journey. But what we see here is the card that's been coming up a lot this week and recently. It's the Judgment card, and it comes right before the World card. In this particular deck, they call it the New Beginnings card because it's a chance at recovering what you feel may have been lost. It's a chance of releasing yourself, relinquishing yourself from self-judgment or the judgment of others or the judgment of the world. This talks about starting a new life, finding your purpose, forgiving and compassionate review of the past. So we've got Archangel Jeremiah, I can't say his name ever. He is looking over the Divine Feminine's journey right now and assuring her that starting this new life is very much possible. You are in sort of a recovery mode right now, Divine Feminine, as you found your bearings. You've really been working hard in your physical reality and world, building that or rebuilding that or creating those stronger roots, that root system. But a lot of you have been, questioning a lot of the North Node readings I do for you guys. It's the question of, well, what am I supposed to be doing? So the answers aren't always designed to be, immediate when we need them, when we feel like we need them or we want them, but they will come at the right place at the right time. So there's definitely an energy here, Divine Feminine, of, once you release yourself from the past and you release yourself from any of those bonds that you feel to the past for past situations, relationships, people, contracts, cycles, belief systems, that you're going to feel a lot lighter and you're going to be able to move forward in a much speedier way. It's going to expedite your process forward when you can relinquish what really was never yours to carry. So that's a big theme right now, is releasing what is not ours to carry. So if you were carrying your burden and other people's burdens, or you felt like you were carrying the burden of a friend or family member or the collective, that is being released right now too, so that everybody can find their highest purpose and path. And sometimes that looks like things are getting, dismantled in a very ugly way. Sometimes it doesn't look like what we thought it was going to look like, and it comes in a tower moment, or it comes in an ego death. But whatever is being detached from you, if you haven't done the detaching, it's been detached for you during this eclipse season, because we have eclipses, another round coming up here in the second half of 2022. Those things, especially with the Scorpio lunar eclipses, these things will be released from us. So if you're gripping or holding on, a tornado is going to come through and rip it out of your hand. So the best advice moving forward here would be, don't cling or hold on to anyone or anything. Not even your old belief systems or ideas or what you thought to be true. Just let this go, because this is designed to be a brand new beginning, Divine Feminine, but that can only happen if you're willing to let go of the past. So we have Queen of Ariel. Interesting. So this is how the Divine Masculine, I had to look at that for a second. This is the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of the earthly realm, Queen of the material realm, resources. This is how the Divine Masculine is viewing you, and you're showing up as this in your own reading. So you guys there's some sort of convergence there in the way you're seeing yourself and the way the masculine is seeing you. Seeing you as a very resourceful person, an abundant person, but somebody who is generous with her abundance, somebody who has enough, your cup is overflowing and you can share with others. You're able to take care of your responsibilities and duties, and you're not reliant on the masculine energy. Perhaps you were in the past, and they're now seeing, okay, she's not relying on me anymore. And it's an energy, it's not something you have to tell them. It's just an energy that they'll feel more free. Because one thing the masculine energy fears is constraint. They don't want to feel constrained or tied down. They want to feel like they have their freedom within a relationship. So Queen of Pentacles is able to offer that, because she just begun these new beginnings, created this new template for herself, and it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like the past. So these new templates that you're creating look very different from the ones that you had created for yourself in the past. And so this is being recognized by the counterpart. Okay, this is a Divine Feminine who is really shifted and changed, and he recognizes the highest in him, recognizes the highest in you, and the highest in you is now recognizing the highest in him. And a lot of you are feeling a lot more balanced these days, so there's a lot more people that are experiencing inner union, and as you experience that, you're going to feel like you're going to feel like you're on more solid ground within yourself. It's going to be less of that searching outside of yourself for that perfect partner or that fit or the need for someone else to complete you. You're going to feel very whole within yourself. You're going to find yourself doing that balancing act, you know, being soft when you need to be soft and being firm when you need to be firm. And there's a lot more to say about the feminine and masculine, but this is how it's starting to show up, very simply put, for a lot of people right now. So interesting. So we have the try to remember, this is a deck I haven't used in a while. So 7 of Raphael is 7 of not cups, not pentacles. It's either, I think it's actually the wands, 7 of wands, but let me just verify. Maybe, no, it is 7 of cups. Yep, it's a 7 of cups. Okay. Right, 7 of cups talks about, you know, there's lots of different possibilities, avenues, lots of different doors that can open right now. Lots of different directions that you could choose. And there's going to be something different behind each of those doors. Okay. Each path is going to lead you somewhere different. So you're being asked as you embark on these new beginnings to really be clear with yourself, okay, and your guides, like what it is that you want in the universe, so that you can create that manifestation that you truly desire, not one that you kind of half-heartedly want or half-heartedly are focused on. So be really focused on what it is that you're manifesting and bringing in right now. It is a time to take action. We are in Leo season, so Leo, you know, is a very action-oriented sign. There's a need for some sort of detoxification. That's not the traditional meaning of the 7 of Cups, but this is how it's being interpreted in this deck. And I think it's detoxification from maybe being indirect or indecisive, not being able to make those decisions, because that can create, you know, stagnant energy and chaoticness within the system. So perhaps this is like, look, it's time to be clear. It's time to get focused. And then it's time to take action on those goals that you have. Leo is really like lighting a spark within us to drive us forward, to propel us forward, so that we're not even able to stay in the past energy, even if we tried to, or even if we wanted to. It's really, really asking us to move ahead and move forward and not look back and not have regrets. Okay, so let's get a card here for, now the way the Divine Masculine was seeing the feminine in this feminine oracle deck was Ariadne, you know, Queen of the Labyrinth. So it's like your soul knows the way and the only way out is through. So very much the energy of you being the beacon of light and you realizing you are the lighthouse for the Divine Masculine, leading him home. The Goddess of Light, yeah, there we go. Amaterasu, the goddess of light. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. Yeah, so just the confirmation. There's not much more to say about that. The confirmation that you are the lighthouse. You are, you know, the lighthouse at the end of the driveway, the end of the tunnel, the end of the darkness, you know, the end of the dark night of the soul. Here comes the divine feminine. You know, and I feel like the Divine Masculine has felt like he's seen you recently. So if you're not a part of each other's physical life, I feel like he's felt like he's seen your image or the likes of you in other people. Like he's starting to see his own reflection out there in the world. And so of course he's seeing you. You are the mirror reflection. Maybe he's heard your name a lot recently, and it sparks this, it's like this very nostalgic energy that takes him back to when things were simpler between the two of you. Because again, there's a softening right now in his heart, and he's created a lot of space in his heart. He's done some heart healing. He's done some pondering, some thinking. I do think that some of the more abrasive aspects of the masculine are being washed away, and some of the harder parts of their journey have already happened in recent years. So I think we're going to start to see a big shift as we move towards the end of the year and into 2023. And the world, you know, the current events and the current environment are really supporting that. But yeah, you are, you know, the light that you hold, others can see that, you know, you're projecting it out into the world, and in a very selfless way, divine feminine. And so other people are sensing this, they're seeing this, they're attracted to this, and it's attracting your divine masculine back, especially if you were more in the masculine energy and now you're more balanced, and maybe now you're finding yourself more in that divine feminine energy, or, you know, spending more time in both energies, so a more balanced type of energy. It's really being felt and experienced by the divine masculine. It's really drawing them into more healing, more and more layers of healing for them, and it's drawing them towards you, because you've softened as well. You've softened, you're opening your heart, you have, you know, worked on forgiveness. Both the masculine and the feminine in this recent week, in my readings have gotten the Judgment card. So it's definitely coming in as, okay, this is the masculine is working through forgiveness, and so is the divine feminine. White buffalo calf woman, you know, white buffalo, this is also about peace, smoking the peace pipe. The peace pipe, white buffalo, is connected to, you know, ancient tribes, Native American tribes, and is very symbolic of bringing peace to the land and peace to the people, especially in a fight or quarrel. So wherever you may have had disagreements or arguments with a counterpart or other, you know, anybody you consider other outside of yourself, this would be that invitation to peace. The prophetess of the sacred way, my heart is a compass, the path of love is true abundance. So interesting, you know, shining the heart light to combine these two energies and really creating a pathway forward that, for the feminine, that feels more sacred, softer, more open, more divine, more embodied, more of the embodiment of the two energies versus, you know, swinging in one or the other. So it may have felt kind of volatile recently as you arrived at that place of inner union, but now that you feel like you're there or you are there, it should feel more peaceful. It should feel less chaotic. And just a reminder that you know the way forward. You have the compass, you have the light, you have the ability to know which direction to go, know which choice to make. And just honoring that commitment to self, honoring that self compass, that inner GPS that is activated when you're in true alignment with yourself and with what it is that you truly desire. And I think that's changing for a lot of feminines right now. I think maybe what you thought you wanted is appearing differently now. So it could be that it's just in a different form. It could be that it's arriving in a different way, at a different time, in a different place. But yeah, your desires are shifting and changing, you know, and this is what's sacred. This is the sacred aspect of the journey, is knowing that what it is that you desire is allowed to change. It's allowed to shift. We're allowed to, you know, we're allowed to mold ourselves throughout this lifetime. We're not supposed to stay stagnant. So there could be recently there could have been some grief energy passing through. I know a lot of feminines mentioned some teary energy, and that came up in one of the recent readings as well, the sadness, the grief, the tears. I feel like I'm grieving the loss of this connection, especially if you've just recently entered into that place where you don't feel the masculine, where you're just moving ahead and you're like, I don't even feel them anymore. It can feel very sad. It can feel like a huge death. It can feel like the connection is over, like it's been severed. And then when you don't speak in the 3D for quite some time, and you just kind of, the ego kind of presumes, well, it's over. This is a death. And it's a death of the way things were. So it's a death of the way you were, a death of the way they were, and a death of the way the connection was had been formed. Like that has to die, that has to go, so that new perspectives can be born, new paths can be laid out, new foundations can be built, and these foundations will be a lot healthier and a lot more clear. And you don't want that in and out behavior from the counterpart or from yourself. And so if you don't want the in and out and the back and forth, you want to create something stable, then it's something that part of you, that part of them that was able to create that connection that was rooted in instability, that was rooted in fear of abandonment and fear of intimacy. You can have both those coexisting at the same time: fear of intimacy, fear of abandonment. Like, I love you, leave me alone, go away. And codependency, I'm not good enough, right? Here it is, the not good enough energy. And so, this created a lot of grief, I think, for the feminine. Maybe the counterpart made you feel not good enough, but we have to remember that they're a mirror for ourselves. So whatever your perceived loss is right now, Divine Feminine, in this journey and this with the potential counterpart, it's an illusion. This connection is timeless. It's formless. It transcends space and time. It transcends the definitions that we have for love on this planet. We can't even put it into words, this connection. I think that's why I've gotten so frustrated with labels recently, because you can't put this into words. It's formless, it's wordless. This is just, it's a feeling. It's more than a feeling, it just is. Like, this is your soul. It just is. You can't, it's so hard to put into words. And even if, something has changed in the 3D, it's only changing to, it's for your betterment, it's for your healing, it's for the good in the long run. Don't focus on the loss. Don't focus on what you feel like you have lost or perceive to have lost. Focus only on yourself, reclaiming the self, those potential, lost soul fragments that you felt like, oh, I gave it away to the counterpart. You didn't. It still exists within you. Just have to call back those soul fragments. Everything that you need is inside. Look for it. So feel the grief. But, don't beat yourself up if you feel like, I can't get over this, because there's a kind of overwhelming energy here. Remembering that the 3 of Swords came up, I believe it was in yesterday's reading, and also the 9 of Swords came up today for the masculine. So there is some sadness being woven through the collective right now to clear out those harder, more difficult feelings that, we have to process of loss. So both counterparts are being affected in different ways by these energies. And Divine Feminine, when you feel like, my twin made me feel I'm not good enough. It was it was a projection of the way they felt about themselves. So if they pushed you away, if the masculine pushes the feminine away or chooses someone else, it's because they don't feel good enough for you. So they will actually choose down. They will actually choose someone that's at a lower level than you, because then they can't really get hurt. Right? Then they can't really have their heart broken, because if they don't really love that person, if it's not even really a real connection, it's not going to hurt them like the feminine can hurt them. So feminine, you have to remember that if your counterpart walked away from you, it was for your own good, for their healing, and so they could recognize what they truly had and who they truly were, so that they could learn to love themselves. I also think that, like people say, oh, time heals everything. No, time doesn't heal everything. You can be in grief for 20, 30 years of your life and not have moved forward from a breakup, a divorce, a loss, a death, of a pet, a person, a part of yourself. Time doesn't heal. What heals is accepting what you've been through and being able to transmute some of that energy, being able to pour it into other things, being able to, tap into the phoenix energy that rises from the ashes, that rises from the loss, from the fire, from the ashes, and that creates and that transcends and maybe starts to have an understanding of why things happen. But it's not time that heals. It's us that heal, and there is no timeline. So you can't actually, just like you can't detach from your counterpart, you can't actually get over the counterpart, because it's a piece of you. There's no getting over the counterpart. There's no like, oh, I'm just going to move on. You can't. You can move ahead with your life. You can release them to learn their lessons, to, you know, attend whatever karmic cycles that they need to tend to, but you can't get over them. You can't just put them out of your mind. Naturally, that will happen as you heal, as you ascend, as you grow, as you shift, and as you recognize and realize that this journey was always about you. It's always been about you. You have the power to make the decision to change this in an instant, in a heartbeat. But it's not time that's going to do it. It's you and your choices and the way in which you're choosing to show up. So Divine Feminine, I hope this has been a helpful reading and insightful for you. If so, please drop a like, share, and subscribe. I look forward to working with some of you. Again, the website is listed below in the description box. You can book with me. You can purchase the Twinflame workbook. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next reading. Take good care, guys. Talk soon.